Hello students, welcome to my live teaching learning session of BPAG 174 Sustainable Development. Today we will discuss about block 4. This is the last block of this paper, and in this block unit 11, 12, 13 and 14 we will discuss in today's session. In unit 11, the topic is role of policy innovations in sustainable development. It means what are the various policy innovations which government has taken for the achievement of this sustainable development. You know that sustainable development is that development in which we can fulfill the needs of present generation as well as future generation without compromising or without sacrificing the needs of future generation. That type of development is called sustainable development. And sustainable development play a very important role at present because we are achieving economic growth and development at the cost of sustainable development. If we develop a high rate of economic growth, if we develop our economy without hampering this sustainable development, that will be actually called development. So, sustainable development tells us that how we should use available all natural resources, human resources, and capital resources in such a way so that our present generation needs and future generation needs both can be satisfied without any cost of sacrificing or without putting any opportunity cost. So, in Unit 11, role of policy innovations in sustainable development. This is the main topic of Unit 11, and now start from sustainable development. You know that what is the meaning of sustainable development? The goal of sustainable development is to enable all people throughout the world to satisfy their basic needs and enjoy a better quality of life without compromising the quality of life of the future generation. Or, in other words, we can say that sustainable development is that development in which we can fulfill all people needs like present generation needs as well as future generation needs. If both needs can be satisfied with the available resources and optimization of resources, then this type of development will be called sustainable development. So, sustainable development is the process, it's a way in which we can enable all people throughout the world to satisfy their basic needs and enjoy a better quality of life without compromising the quality of life of the future generation. Now, sustainable development, what policies government has made. So, policies for sustainable economic development, there are first is technological innovation is very necessary for the achievement of sustainable development. And technological innovation can be used in economic resources, in social information sector, and in environment. In all areas, we can use technological innovation for the achievement of sustainable development. In economic resources, here BAT is written and BAT means best available technology. We should use best available technology so that economic resources can be utilized in a optimum or ideal way. And in social information, ICT means information and communication technology. We should use that type of information and communication technology which provide information to all, and all country people should aware about the environmental degradation and how they can contribute to prevent the environment. So this is also very necessary, and this also included in technological innovation. And in environment, climate is changing. There are so many gases like greenhouse gases are involved in our atmosphere. So we should prevent our environment from harmful gases or radioactive rays and chemical explosions and chemical fertilizers, so that environment can be protected. We should use green technology for the security of our environment. So this is technological innovation and policies, sustainable economic development. These are classified into three categories. One is economic resources, second is social information. And economic resources, we should use all available resources in a best way. So BAT is best available technology, should be used for the achievement of this sustainable development goal. And social information, ICT should also develop. And climate is changing, and we should protect our environment from harmful and dangerous radioactive and chemicals and greenhouse gases. Next is, that the global goals of sustainable development. Sustainable development at the world level, there are 17 goals are decided. One is no poverty. If there is no poverty in all over the world, then we can say that we are going in the path of sustainable development. There are 17 goals. One is no poverty in all over the world and zero hunger. Third is good health and well being. Fourth is quality education. Fifth is gender equality should also be exist in each and everywhere. Sixth is clean water and sanitation facility should also available. Seventh is affordable and clean energy which prevent our environment from pollution. Next is decent work and economic growth. Decent work and economic growth atmosphere should also provided to all the country people and all over the world. Next is industry innovation and infrastructure. Industry innovation and infrastructure, this is the ninth goal of this sustainable development. 10th is reduced inequality. Next is sustainable cities and communities. For the achievement of this goal, we should use green technology for sustainable cities and communities. 12th is responsible consumption and production. It means consumption and production should also be in a sustainable way, so that both generation needs can be satisfied. 13 is climate action, and 14th is life below water also should be protected. 15 is life on land, and 16 is peace and justice. Strong institutions should develop for the achievement of peace and justice. 17th is partnership for the goals. It means all countries should participate in the achievement of these goals, because these goals can't be achieved without partnerships and without participating of all the countries of the world, because these are global goals for sustainable development, and each and every country should participate in the achievement of this goal and should give their best to best contribution for achievement of these goals. Next is following are the policies for sustainable development. What are the various policies for sustainable development? These are some policies like reducing poverty. Poverty is a curse for the economy, for the world. So poverty should be reduced, and the foremost policy is to reduce poverty. First is to reduce poverty, and then we can achieve sustainable development. Removal of subsidies, because subsidies are provided by government, and subsidies are called negative tax. If government provide more subsidies, it means the burden of this negative tax will increase, and government budget will be in deficit. And in case of deficit budget, government will borrow money from the abroad or other foreign institutions. In this case, debt trap, and economy can enter in debt trap. So removal of subsidies also necessary for the achievement of sustainable development. Market based approach, it means we know that we should follow market based approach. Market economy is that economy in which laissez-faire or free market economy exists. Demand and supply can determine the price of each and every commodity which are produced in our economy. Economic incentives should also be provided for the achievement of sustainable development. And public awareness is also very necessary for the achievement of this goal. And participation of global environmental efforts are very necessary for the achievement of this goal. And trade policy should be fair, and trade policy should be should be that type of policy which can prevent or protect our environment. Then we can achieve sustainable development. So these are the policies which are related for the sustainable development. One is reducing poverty, second is removal of subsidies, third is market based approach, fourth is economic incentives, fifth is public awareness, sixth is participation of global environmental efforts, and next last is trade policy. Now, next is the important element of sustainable development policies. It means what are the various important elements which are included in these policies. In this year, the discussion presented in this report highlights the importance of a number of cross cutting elements to guide policies towards sustainable development. These include one is long term planning horizons. In the absence of an adequate framework for assessing the impact of policies on different types of resources, meaning measures targeted at short term objectives may be selected even if they have negative long term impact. It means we should plan for the achievement of sustainable development. In this, we can plan for long time period, and we can also plan for short time period. If we don't have long term planning horizon, then we can adopt and we can follow short term objectives even if they have negative long term impact, but we can adopt it. While there is a trade off means there is a conflict, and there is a trade off between different goals may prevail in the short term, in the long term. Man made, natural, human, and social capital will complement each other in supporting welfare improvements. You know that sometimes if we want to achieve one goal, then we have to sacrifice the other goal. Some goals are not complementary to each other, some goals are contradictory to each other. They have trade off. It means if we want to achieve high growth rate, and if we use more and more capital intensive technology, then labor will be unemployed and the problem of unemployment will increase. So if we want to achieve high growth rate, then unemployment problem will rise. So one goal if we achieve, then other goal is contradictory to that goal. So in this way, In the absence of an adequate framework for assessing the impact of policies on different types of resources, measures targeted at short-term objective, we can adopt short-term objective even if they have negative long-term impact. So there is a trade off in different goals. It may prevail in the short term, in the long term, man made, natural, human, social capital. All are complementary with each other in supporting welfare improvements. Next is pricing. For market to support sustainable outcomes, prices should reflect the full cost and benefits to societies of the goods and services being produced. Price, which is the main thing of producing any item, because if producer is producing goods and services, the main goal of producer is to earn maximum profit. So producer will determine the price of the commodity in such a way so that all types of cost and benefits are included in that price. So this may require the elimination of incentives to overuse natural resources and to degrade the environment, or the introduction of new incentives to improve the environment. It means pricing is also play very important role in supporting the sustainable outcomes. So price should be reflect the cost and benefit to societies of the goods and services which are produced by the producer, and it require the elimination of incentive to overuse. If a producer overutilizing the natural resources, then incentive should be eliminate. And if producer is using green technology and environment friendly technologies for the production of goods and services, then incentives should be provided to the producer. Next is delivery of public goods. You know that public goods are those goods which can be used by all. You can't exclude anyone to use that commodity. Many of the benefits from government interventions needed to promote sustainable development have the characteristics of public goods. Public goods like basic research, information, health, and education. Also, many of these public goods are global as they will benefit several countries. For example, information on the state of global ecosystem. Effective delivery of these public goods require overcoming obstacles to coordination through burden sharing rules that recognize the different responsibilities and response capacities of individual countries. So delivery of public goods also play important role in the achievement of sustainable development. Next is cost effectiveness. Policies should aim to minimize the cost and maximize the benefits. Policies should aim at minimizing their economic cost. This will require ensuring that the cost of each extra resources spent are equals across the range of possible interventions. Cost effectiveness policy allows the minimization of aggregate cost and the setting of more ambitious targets in the future. This is the main aim of this cost effectiveness policy, which main aim is to minimize the cost and maximize the ambitious targets in the future. Next is environmental effectiveness. Environmental effectiveness in this policies should secure one is regeneration. You know that regeneration, some resources are renewable and some resources are non renewable. The resources which can be renewed, which can be regenerate, which can be recreate, that is called regeneration. Regeneration, for example, renewable resources should be used efficiently and their use should not be permitted to exceed their long term rates of natural regeneration. Second is substitutability. It means we should find out alternatives and substitutes of the natural resources. For example, non-renewable resources like petrol, we should find out so many substitutes of these non-renewable resources which can't be regenerate, which can't be remake. And substitutability is the very important thing for achievement of this sustainable goal. Here non-renewable resources should be used efficiently and their use in limited to levels that can be offset by renewable resources or other forms of capital. Third is assimilation. Assimilation means to combine or to join. Uh, for example, releases of hazards or polluting substances to the environment should not exceed its assimilative capacity, and concentrations should be kept below established critical levels necessary for the protection of human health and the environment. When assimilative capacity is effective, zero, releases of such substances is required to avoid their accumulation in the environment. So, environment effectiveness policies should secure one is regeneration of resources, either it may be renewable or non-renewable. We should use mm, efficiently all the available natural resources, and the resources which are non-renewable we should find out the substitute of non-renewable resources. And third is assimilation. We should not exceed its assimilation capacity, and hazards or polluting substances should not be included in excess way, because it will hamper the environment and it will not secure our environment. So assimilation means releases of hazards or polluting substances of the environment should not exceed its assimilated capacity. Next is policy integration. Unsustainable practices may result from incoherent policies in different domains. Sectoral policies, in particular, are often introduced without due regard for the externality. Externality means the effect of if the effect of one person affects the other party, that is called externality. The action of one person affects the other, it is called externality. Externality is also the main cause of market failure. Externality may be of two types. One is positive externality and other is negative externality. For example, industries are producing more goods, and they are producing more goods but they are polluting environment also. It means one side they are giving positive externality to increase the output level, but on the other hand they are polluting the environment by using more chemicals and by throwing their garbage or waste in rivers. So they are polluting the environment and water. So this type of externality is called negative externality. So externality is also responsible for the market failure, and it is the main cause of market failure. It may be positive or may be negative. So, policy integration tells us that unsustainable practices may result from incoherent policies in different domains, like sectoral policies. in particular, are often introduced without due regards for the externality being targeted by environment policies, leading to inconsistencies and spillover effects. Improving policy coherence requires better integration of economic, environment, and social goals in different policies. It means all policies should be integrated for the achievement of same goal, like economic policies, environmental policies, social goals. All are related with different policies, but they should be integrated in a better way. Then we can achieve this sustainable development goal. Next is transparency and accountability. Transparency and accountability is also very necessary for the achievement of this goal. A participatory approach is important to successful meeting the challenge of sustainable development, as the criteria for sustainability can't be defined in purely technical terms. This requires that the process through which decisions are reached is informed by the full range of possible consequences and is accountable to the public. Policies to enhance sustainable development. So, transparency and accountability is also included in that policy of sustainable development. All these things are included in Unit 11. Now, in Unit 12, the topic of this unit is recognition of ecological limits of equity and justice. This Unit 12 tells us about recognition of ecological and limits of equity and justice. In this unit, we will discuss about all these things. One like introduction, relationship between environmental justice and right of tribals, significance of indigenous people for environmental protection, and conclusion of this unit. Now, recognition, first is equity. What is the meaning of equity? Equity means equal distribution or equality in all aspects of the economy, like economic aspect, social aspect, cultural aspect, political, spatial, environmental, knowledge, all should be equally provided to all. Equity between whom? Class, occupation, gender, ethnicity, geography, identity, intra and intergenerational. It means equity can be classified in three parts: recognitional equity, distributional equity, and procedural equity. And equity of what? Equity can be exist in economic way, in social way, in cultural way, in political way, in special way, in environment, and in knowledge way. And equity between whom? It means to whom should be provided to equity in, there should not be class interval or class gaps or class struggle between the persons, like there should be no rich and not too much rich and not too much poor people should live, because all country people should be equal. If there is no class struggle, there is no discrimination between haves or haves not, and there is no difference between occupation, gender, ethnicity, geography, identity, then we can say that all are equal. So equity means this. Now, unit 12, the main thing is introduction. In this unit, environment, you know that environment is our life support system. We must realize that environmental resources will not be there forever. Most of them are perishable, which are easily, or which are in a short period they can be destroyed. So most of them are perishable in nature, and there is a limit to their use and abuse. Use of environment without losing right of equity and justice is a backbone of environmental justice. In recent times, there is a growing concern over the complex relationship between environmental quality and human equality. Environmental quality should be good, should be in a very good way, and human beings should be equal. There should be justice and equality exist in each and every country. Now, what is the relationship between environmental justice and rights of tribals? It is important to understand the concept of environmental justice, which includes one is fair distribution of environmental goods and benefit. Second is recognition of human and non human interest in decision making and distribution. Third is existence of deliberative and democratic participation. And fourth is building of capabilities among individuals, groups, and non-human parts of nature. Next is environmental injustice is produced through various mechanisms such as government planning and regulations, as well as private and corporate interests that exploit specific areas and locales. So it is very important to understand that environmental justice can be uh, can be present or can be achieved. Environmental justice include that we should fair distribute all the environmental goods and services and recognition of human and non-human interest in decision making and distribution, existence of deliberative and democratic participation. It means all country people can participate for this environmental protection, and building of capabilities among individuals, groups, and non-human parts of nature. If environmental injustice is exist, it means environmental injustice produced through various mechanisms like government can produce environmental injustice, government plannings, regulations, private corporate sectors, and corporate interest that exploit all the available resources in a fast way, in a rapid way. In this way, environment can be polluted and environmental injustice can be occur. Now, a large number of tribal, that people live in forest. For their basic needs, they access the resources generated from these forests. In turn, they have an interest in preserving the forest as it is as the part of their life support system. Forest and environment is our life supporting system. But with globalization means increasing the integral relationship with rest of the world. At present, most of the economies are following this globalization process. India has adopted this globalization during 1991 time period. And with globalization, increasing pressure is being put on natural resources, and indigenous people have been losing access to their traditional lands and territories on which their livelihoods depends. This has accelerated the process of deforestation to meet the urban and industrial demands, which has immensely affected the livelihood of tribes. In India and in other nations, so many people are living in forest and in tribal areas, and the people who are living in tribal areas, they use for their basic needs, they use these resources for their survival. And you know that environment is the life support system of all living organism of the this earth. But with globalization, increasing pressure of these natural resources, and indigenous people have been losing access to the traditional land and territories on which their livelihood depends. It means there is no justification and no fair distribution of land among these people. That's why uh, here we are talking about limits of justice and tribes, how tribal people can affect the environment. And now the conclusion of this unit is tribal people play a crucial role in preserving and conserving natural resources. The low carbon footprint lifestyle of the tribal people has conserved the global environment for many countries. Their wisdom and sustainable methods should be recognized, adopted, and promoted to effectively mitigate climate change. On the contrary, they are generally excluded from social, economic, and political processes at the national and subnational levels. This is due to the lack of consultations with tribal people and dearth of mechanism for their participation in decision making processes. Such processes include national development strategies and policies that directly affect their ways of life. At the same time, public policies in many countries do not pay directed or targeted attention to the needs of these communities. As a consequences, they have not been able to share the benefits of economic growth adequately. And this plays a major part of in reducing inequality. So, reducing inequality, reduction in poverty, equal and justice among all the world level people. This is the main goal of sustainable development. So, in Unit 12, here we have discussed about tribal people and how tribal people can affect the environment and what policies should be made by the government for reducing inequality and providing all resources to all communities without any injustice and without any unequal distribution. Now in Unit 13, which is also in Block 4, its main topic is alternative ways of limit of equity and justice, resources generation, and capacity enhancement. This is also the extension of Unit 12. In Unit 12, we have discussed about equity and justice among the tribal people, and here we are discussing about alternative ways of limit of equity and justice, resources generation, and capacity enhancement. In this unit, we'll start from introduction, relevance of sustainable choices, environmental benefits of alternative resources, and then we will conclude of this unit. Now, introduction. This unit tells us that the fast growing population, you know, that population is growing at present all over the world, and in all over the world, total population is 8 trillion. The fast growing population, changing lifestyle with every nation trying to develop their economies without considering the environmental consequences has led to new challenges for living life forms. More and more factories are being straightly established, and harmful chemicals and materials are used in the production process. Over time, urban population has increased manifold. Consumption of primary energy has soared, and use of chemicals, fertilizers, etc. has increased in agriculture. All these challenges are shifting the earth into a new state that is less hospitable to human life. Changing lifestyle and growing population is the biggest obstacle of the environmental prevention. Environmental protection, in this case, if we want to protect our environment, we should change the lifestyle and we should control the increasing population, and we should use green technologies, and we should find out alternative ways of different uh, uh, different forms of technologies, and the chemicals and hazardous chemicals which are polluting the environment. We should find out the alternatives of these type of chemicals and fertilizers and other resources which are being using in agriculture sector or in industrial sector, because these changes are shifting the earth into a new state, and which is the less hospitable and which is less eco-friendly, or less hospitable to human life. Relevance of sustainable choices. You know that sustainable choices, the here we are discussing about relevance. What is the importance or significance of sustainable choices? One simple instance in our daily life is the use of plastic. It is so well embedded in our daily lives that almost all our things are made of plastic. Most commonly used plastic form is plastic bags. A rare novelty in the 1970s, plastic shopping bags are now an omnipresent, or at present, plastic bags are being used by all at global level. It's a global product produced at a rate of 1 trillion a year. They are showing up from the darkest depths of the oceans to the summit of Mount Everest and the polar ice caps. This is creating some major environmental challenges. Plastic bags cause environmental damage as they increase the level of air pollution. Plastic bags not only have adverse effect on our natural habitats, they even cause death of many animals who accidentally consume them. So sustainable choices are very relevant in present world. So we should find out the alternative of this plastic bag, and we should avoid the use of plastic bag which is unsustainable product, and uh, which is the harmful of environmental security or safety. Unlike the old perception that paper means deforestation, today the paper bags are largely not made from tree. They rather use eco-friendly solutions like sugarcane waste. Paper is manufactured from the pulp waste that is left after sugar gets made of sugarcane. Next is straw. Yes, paper can be made from straw fibers too. And if it is implemented effectively in rural areas or in rural India, it can encourage farmers not to burn crops, rather sell the straw for a price. Next is jute twine. It is also used to make high quality writing and specialty paper. coconut husk. These are being used to create a paper with a thick texture. Elephant exarchia. Yes, you heard it right. Paper is now manufactured from elephant poop. The nature friendly bags are generated made out of the materials that are quite easy to get decomposed by bacteria and other microorganisms present in the atmosphere. Hence, they take very less time to disintegrate into simpler forms. So, paper bags can be used by all, and it's a good alternative or substitute of plastic bags. And paper bags doesn't mean that deforestation will apply, and if deforestation will occur, then definitely environment will be affected by that thing. So old perception that paper means deforestation, that doesn't at present exist. Today paper bags are largely not made by tree. They use eco-friendly solutions like sugarcane waste, straw, jute twine, coconut husk, elephant exarchia. The nature friendly bags can be made by some that type of material which can be easily decomposed by bacteria and other microorganisms. Next is conclusion of this unit is in essence scarce resources and burge owning human needs are putting the environment at risk. The changes in lifestyle are pushing us to convenience laden existence. The consequences of these changes are global warming and environmental degradation. The need of the hour is to bring changes in our daily life routine by switching over to healthy environmental choices. In this way, we can save our planet and the living forms on it. This unit 13 mainly focused on sustainable and alternative use of resources as an effective tool of environmental pollution. Next is Unit 14. Now, Unit 14 is related with the role of stakeholders in sustainable development. This is the last unit of last block, fourth of this paper, role of non-state stakeholders or NGOs, non-governmental organizations, what role they play for the achievement of this goal. So in this unit, we will discuss about one is first of all introduction of sustainable development, need of sustainable development, role of NGOs in sustainable development, role of trade unions in sustainable development, role of corporate sectors in sustainable development, universities in sustainable development, all play very important role. All these are non-state stakeholders in which we include NGOs, trade unions, corporate sectors, and universities. And in last, we can conclude from the above discussion. Now, first is introduction. The term sustainable development was coined around the mid 1980s. Brundtland Commission in 1987 defined this concept of sustainable development. This concept has been constantly evolving since its inceptions. More dynamic and ever-changing governance structure in the domestic and international areas have encouraged increased participation of non-state actors in policy designs and implementation. Demands on citizens' involvement in domestic and international environmental policy making have grown. The number of non-governmental organizations, NGOs focusing on environment and sustainability issues has increased as well. So in this unit, we will discuss about all the role of non-government or non-state stakeholders, what role they are playing for the achievement of sustainable development. You know that need for sustainable development, there is a growing realization, growing need that economic growth alone is not enough. The economic, social, and environmental aspect of any action are interconnected. Considering only one of these at a time leads to errors in judgment and unsustainable outcomes. Focusing only on profit margins, for example, has historically led to social and environmental damages that cost the society in the long run. By the same token, taking care of the environment and providing the services that people need depends at least in part of economic resources. So, at present, sustainable development is the greatest need for each and every person of this uh, earth. There is a growing realization of this sustainable development because economic growth alone is not enough. Role of NGOs in sustainable development. What role played by non-government organizations in this sustainable development? NGOs and other civil society groups are not only stakeholders in governance but also a driving force behind greater international cooperation through the active mobilization of public support for international agreements. The participation of civil society in global governance is increasing in significance. The NGOs movement has responded to different models of development in various ways. Some NGOs have implemented economic projects, some monitor the social impact of resources development initiatives, others monitor the environmental impact, some pursue delivery of relief and social welfare services. Some do it by helping to organize sectors or communities. It means NGOs are working in different fields and they are doing more work on different projects. NGOs have implemented some economic projects. Some are monitoring how these resources are used by uh, country people in an excessive way and how they are polluting the environment. So, NGOs are monitoring all the aspects of the uh, resources, that how resources are being used by the country people, how resources are used by excessively used or optimally used or minimum used, or they are monitoring all this social impact of resources development initiative. They are monitoring the environmental impact also, and they are providing some social welfare services which help to organize some sectors and communities. Next is the role of trade union in sustainable development. Trade union are a major component of the system of modern industrial relations. In any nation, each having their own set of objectives or goals to achieve according to their constitution, and each having its own strategy to reach those goals. Union of workers play a very important role in industrial system. Trade union discussions about sustainable development invariably turn to current social and economic development and their implications for workers. Throughout history, workers and their communities have been amongst the first victims of unsustainable pattern of development. Objectives of trade unions. The main objectives of trade unions are: first is wages and salary. Wages and salaries are the most important objective of trade unions. In the organized industry, wages and benefits are determined through process of collective bargaining, wage board, conciliation, and adjudication. Working of all these processes deserves systematic inquiry, union power, and objectives. Fact tends to influence the wage seen through these forums. Next is working condition. The main role of trade union is to provide better and good working condition of all the workers who are working in factories or in industries. Another major objective of the trade union is to ensure the safety of workers while working. Every worker must be provided with basic facilities like drinking water, minimum working hours, paid holidays, social security, safety equipments, lights, and others. Third is personal policies. Any personal policies of the employer with respect to promotion, transfer, and training could be challenged by trade unions if arbitrary. And discipline, trade unions also protect the workers from arbitrary disciplinary action taken by management against any worker. No worker should be victimized by management in form of arbitrary transfer or suspension. Next is welfare. The main objective of the trade union is to work for the welfare of the workers. This include welfare of the family members or children of the workers. These are the important objectives and roles of trade union. Employees and employer relationship must also be good. There needs to be harmony, peace between employers and employees in order to ensure industrial peace. But due to superior power of the management, sometimes conflict and disturbances and sometimes of these conflicts arises in this situation. Trade union represent the whole group of workers and continue negotiation with management. Safeguarding organizational health and the interest of the industry, trade union help in achieving employee satisfaction. They also help in better industrial relations by creating procedures to resolve industrial disputes. CSR is corporate social responsibility. You know that many big corporate sectors are working in each and every country for producing goods and services. So each and every corporate sector must has to pay their social responsibility towards environment, towards whole community of the country. CSR means a commitment to developing policies that integrate responsible practices into daily business operations and reporting on progress made towards implementing these practices. Common CSR policies are adoption of internal controls reforms, commitment to diversity in hiring employees and bearing discrimination, and adoption of operating policies that exceed compliance with social and environmental laws, etc. And role of universities in sustainable development, education and research also play very important role for the achievement of this sustainable development. Sustainable development goals covers a wide range of areas such as agriculture, health, water, sanitation, gender equality, energy, industry, innovation, infrastructure, etc. And under almost all of them, higher education institutions can contribute through teaching, research, community engagement, or advisory services. Addressing the challenges of these sustainable development goals will require new knowledge, new ways of doing things, hard copies between competing options, and in some cases, profound transformation. University and NGOs and trade union can play very important role in the achievement of this sustainable development. Now we can conclude from the above discussion, which we have discussed in block 4 and unit 14. And in all units, the concept of sustainable development is closely intertwined with the notions of citizens, participation, and democracy, and it thus becomes imperative to make the voices of concerned stakeholders like NGOs, corporate sectors, and universities heard at the appropriate forums. The contribution from various non-stakeholders in achieving sustainable development need to be enhanced through a strengthened and more formalized structure of engagement. An improved governance structure should acknowledge the roles of these stakeholders and devise formal channels for participation. This unit discussed the role of specific stakeholders such as universities, corporate sectors, NGOs, and trade unions in sustainable development. Now, this paper, BPAG's 174 Sustainable Development, we have covered all blocks and all units in these live sessions. Thank you.